morning, everyone, and welcome to Art with Miss Myra. I'm so glad that you have joined me today. Today is Monday, April 20th, and today's project that we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a sea glass painted jar. So this is just an old jar that I had on hand. I think it was a spaghetti jar. Had spaghetti sauce in it or something and stuff. And I love the look of sea glass. Sea glass is something, that is formed in a way that, people discard bottles and glass and stuff into the sea and the ocean. And so that's not a good thing and stuff. But what happens over time, over a 7-year period of time, is that the ocean, the waves, the salt and stuff from the sea form. They rub on that glass, and it forms a very muted color. It turns the glass into kind of a frosted color, and it gets round and very smooth and not sharp or anything and stuff. And so it's those sea glasses are used for in jewelry making and stuff. I used to have a piece of jewelry. I looked for it this weekend and stuff. I couldn't find it, so it's probably stacked in a box someplace. But I love the look and the color of sea glass, and this sea glass look is typically green and blue, and it's always frosted. And so I just love the look of sea glass, and that it's and I like the simplicity of having jars painted like sea glass, and then just having the black lid and stuff. So that's what I'm going to teach you guys how to do today. And we only need a couple of ingredients to do this, or a couple of supplies to do this. And so what we're going to need is we're going to need Mod Podge. And if you don't have Mod Podge, I've talked about this quite a bit in my videos. You can make Mod Podge, and the way that you make Mod Podge is you take 8 ounces of white school glue, you add it to 4 ounces of water, you put it in a jar and you shake it up, and that is Mod Podge. And I use this in a lot of my videos, if you guys have watched me before. And so if you haven't made any of that yet, you're probably going to want to do that, okay? So we need Mod Podge, either the commercial Mod Podge or homemade Mod Podge. We need food coloring. We're going to need a sponge paintbrush, and this is really important because when we are painting our jars, it just goes a lot better and stuff with a sponge paintbrush. So that's what I would recommend. We need black acrylic paint, and that is it. And then we need an old jar. And like I said, you can use any kind of old jar. You can use regular, like a canning jar and stuff. But if you don't want to use one of those jars, you can, this jar that we're going to be painting today, this had orange marmalade in it from when I made orange chicken at one point. And I liked the size of this jar. And it has some embossing here and stuff, and I kind of thought that would be cool and stuff to do our sea glass painting. So that's the one that we're going to be painting in today's class. So let's get started. I'm going to move my phone down so you can kind of see my work area, and you can see that I've already gathered all of my supplies. I've got my old jar here and the lid, and I am going to paint the lid black. And then I've already prepped my sea glass paint, okay? And how I've done this is I just put a little bit of my Mod Podge in a little bowl, and then I added I think 3 drops of green and 2 drops of blue food coloring into this, and then I stirred it up. And this is the really pretty color green that I got, and that is what we're going to use. So we're going to start painting this, and what I do is I always put my fingers in the jar and kind of hold it upside down, and then I'm just going to start brushing my paint on. Like I said, if you have any embossing on your jar, that's okay. That adds character, I think, to your overall project. but you just want to make sure and get an even coat of paint, of our sea glass paint over that, okay? And this does take a little bit of time. You're just going to want to, you know, take a little bit of time and do a good job on this. And remember, kids and stuff, if you're doing painting inside, you are going to want to lay a protective covering down on your table. And you know, I always have my green cutting mat on my table, but when I'm working with paint, I want to have something else on there. That's why I put my paper down, and you know, because I don't want to get anything on, any paint on my table or my mat. So that's a very important step when you're doing projects like this. Okay, so this actually goes pretty quick. And I want to make sure and get in the lip here. I want to cover the lip of my jar. So I always do that one last. But if you use a regular paintbrush for this, guys, you're going to get a lot of brush strokes. You can still do it, but it's just so much easier if you use a sponge brush. Okay, so that's my first coat. And with this one, because it's a little bit lighter colored, I'm probably gonna do 3 coats on this one. So I wanna touch up my little spots where it just touched to turn it upside down. But so I'm just gonna set this aside now, and I'm going to let it dry. And it's gonna take, I want it to sit for about an hour for it to dry, okay? And then you're going to, during this time, you're gonna paint your lid, okay? So you're gonna take your black paint, your black acrylic paint, and you don't need very much. And I've got another sponge brush here, and I'm just gonna paint my lid. And like I said before and stuff, I like the simplicity of the sea glass jar with a black lid. But if you guys want to decorate your lid too, afterwards, you can do that. You know, you could put little gems on it, or you could glue a button on it, or you could even just paint a regular rock with your sea glass paint, and you could put that on top of it. So there you go. I've got my lid painted now. So now I'm gonna let that go ahead and dry. So now what I'm gonna do is I am just gonna let my 2 items dry, and then for about an hour, and I'm gonna give a second coat to the lid, and I'm gonna give, actually when I'm all done with this jar, I'm gonna do 3 coats. And you wanna have about an hour dry time in between all of those coats, okay? So with this jar, I did 3 coats on it, and you can see it's quite a bit darker and stuff than this one. So that's what I want you guys to do, okay? So thank you all for joining me for today's project. It was just a really quick and easy project, and I hope that you guys all do this at home, and I hope you have fun with it, experiment with it a little bit. If you're watching me on Facebook, as always, I'm Myra Klein on Facebook. I welcome any questions or comments about any of the classes that I'm doing. And if you're watching me on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button down below and the bell so you can get notifications. And I will see you all back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Mountain Time for the next episode of Art with Miss Myra. And we're going to be doing, tomorrow, we're going to be painting rocks with with alcohol ink, with alcohol ink. So we're gonna take a rock painting, you know, all of us have probably done rock painting at some point and stuff. We're going to take rock painting to the next level tomorrow because we're going to be doing alcohol ink tomorrow. And so just a reminder, for that, you're going to need markers that are dry, or markers that you can use, you know, and stuff that you're not going to use for another project afterwards. Okay, you're going to use these markers, and then they're going to be exhausted, and we're not going to use them for anything else. Okay, and you need small jars with lids. You need rubbing alcohol, and then you're going to need rocks, and you're also going to need a paintbrush and white acrylic paint for tomorrow's projects. I hope that you guys all join me back for that at 11 a.m. tomorrow, and I will see you then. Thanks. Have a great night. Bye-bye.